Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks. They get it done. And this is what we talked about earlier in the week is we know you're going on the road to Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, Iowa. You knew the weather was going to be less than ideal. And the weather certainly delivered, man. It was ugly out there. The biggest narrative was I don't really care how this football game looks. Got to figure out a way to win. Oregon did that. Here's the big positive takeaway. And Dill, you know more than anybody, I got a lot of frustrations that I want to get into as well. Things to clean up, you might say, but I want to start positive. Look, does Oregon probably already have their Big Ten card? Yeah, because they won this conference a year ago. But if you had any question marks about this Oregon team being successful in the Big Ten in the month of November, those questions were just answered. Like, the teams are not supposed to go on the road to Kinnick Stadium and run the football for 261 yards, averaging 7.3 yards per carry. That's one of the best rushing defenses that you see in the entire country. That was the biggest problem I had. I'm going to get a little off-roading here right off the bat. One of the biggest problems I had with how the national media was talking about this game is
they were talking about it like this was Chip Kelly's Oregon, not like
Oregon. Yeah, come on.
Bewildering to me. I'm like, are these people watching this Oregon team? Like, this is a big, heavy, physical team. They're more impressive physically, certainly, than I think Iowa is.
That's the conversation that, it's going to be rainy. You're not going to be able to throw the football as much. This is going to be a line of scrimmage, Big Ten kind of game. I don't know if Oregon can win that kind of game, as if Oregon does not have one of, if not the best, rushing attacks in the entire country. I'm happy that Oregon made a statement here. Really happy about it. Now, we got a lot to get into. Before we do, and as always, hey, can we get a vibe check for the Oregon fans? Because the Oregon fans that I've talked about kind of took it from my point of view. Like, I don't care how it looks. Just go on the road and get this one done. It wasn't pretty. Would love to hear how the Oregon fans are feeling in the comment section. And, man, the amount of support this fan base has shown the boys been amazing. And it's a lot of fun to talk about this football team when they're getting the job done on Saturday. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Dill, look, biggest takeaways, and I guess one thing I want to note, I mean, you were down your wide receiver one into Dante Moore, your tight end one in Kenyon Sadiq, who his presence woefully missed because not only is he one of the best pass catchers on this football team, he's also one of the best run blockers on this football team as well, and I think you missed that presence trying to run the football. You were down Alex Harkey. Gary Bryant goes down the first drive of the game. Biggest takeaways from a banged-up Oregon team going on the road getting this one done.
Well, one was Malik Benson stepped up and made some plays. I thought he blocked well. I mean, that catch, again, down to Dante Moore, you were kind of wondering, I think, coming into this season. And frankly, if you watched all year, like, did they have a guy who'd be able to make those type of plays, if not Dante Moore? That's a huge one for Malik Benson. So, like, shout out him for making that play, but also, like, just their ability when they really commit to running the ball. Yeah, really, really impressive what they can do because they have like 3 or 4 backs that I think you really trust. I mean, Dyer Hill's so good. Jordan Whittington, best I think we've seen him.
Noah Whittington, that was his best. Jordan Davison, Noah Whittington, Dyer. I'll help you out with them first names. That was the best Noah Whittington looked in a minute. He was running the ball really hard, making people miss. And Dill, I mean, you had 2 true freshmen toting the rock a lot, and you were holding on to the football. Which, like, that's a storyline where you got to give a golf clap to the young freshmen who were asked to be put in a lot of different spots. I was so mad, man. I was so mad when Oregon came out and threw the football 3 straight times and punted. I mean, it is pouring rain. It's a little bit windy, and it's cold. And you have the best rushing attack in the country. You get good field position right off the bat, and you throw the football 3 straight times and go 3 and out and punt. I was very upset.
It's even more like annoying in hindsight when you see what Oregon was able to do on the ground, where it was consistently really kind of pounding on that Iowa team.
Very frustrating. And I don't want to get into the miscues till later, but that was frustrating. And again, what I will continue to say is that when this Oregon team decides to lean into the rushing attack, there are not a lot of defenses that can deal with them. That was one of the best rushing defenses that you see in the entire country. And they knew, Oregon was running. Oregon did not really have a ton of threat to throw the football due to the conditions, due to the injuries that you had. And you still were able to run the football. I hope this this game and against Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. I hope this is kind of a kick in the butt for Will Stein and say, look, this is a rushing attack that you can lean into, baby. Go make sure you lean into it, because I'm not sure if there's many defenses across the country that can deal with how Oregon runs the football and how many different ways. That's another thing you can talk about, man. They run the football in so many different ways. I love to shout out to Malik Benson. Like, that's why you go out and make your team as deep as possible, right? You were down your three top pass catchers, and DK Moore, Kenyon Sadiq, and Gary Bryant are at least three most reliable pass catchers. Dill, if that were to happen to our Michigan Wolverines, we'd be trotting out walk-ons, man. We'd be trotting out guys that haven't caught a ball all year. I mean, Oregon is so deep. They have so many good players that they can rely on. How about Dante Moore utilizing his legs in some big moments is probably another one. Again, this was a game that you knew it wasn't going to be perfect. And go back to the offseason conversations that we had. What we wanted to see from Dante Moore is, hey, when it ain't perfect, can you go be a difference maker for your football team? Thought Dante Moore was that.
And especially in the second half, like obviously that pick in the first half, you certainly don't love seeing it. But like even that game-winning drive, like just a big-time drive, you couldn't really do what maybe you wanted to do, frankly, all game. And the ball wasn't really hitting the ground. They were making completions. That's a really big drive. And again, those are the drives that like you need him to be able to make those happen. He did it against Penn State. He now does it again here against Iowa. Like that's a big-time drive and a big-time moment. Because again, like you obviously knew what Oregon wanted to do, and they were really successful, but like you had to put the ball in the air at that point, and he was able to make the throws that needed to be made.
Yeah, you really like because I don't say this lightly, Dill, because there's a lot of teams that are good that have really bad competitive character. You know, like a lot of teams that they'll be the better team on the football field and figure out ways to lose. And you saw Oregon get it done on the road against Iowa, saw them get it done on the road against Penn State, and you're saying, hey, this team is – you can tell the competitive characters there. Hey, last thing I'll note, man, and kind of an important one, you're also down right tackle Alex Harkey, right? And what's Alex Harkey best at? Moving bodies in the run game, right? And Janoris Wilson, look, was he bad? No. Could you tell he was a backup tackle? Yeah. I mean, he had a false start. He gave up a couple of pressures. I think he was not as imposing as Alex Harkey is at that right tackle spot. So you were down some really important pieces and still got it done. All right. Flip the sides real quick. Defense. And then I want to get into some miscues, man, because I do want to talk about some things that need to get cleaned up. Game balls for the Oregon defense. The tee box is yours. I think there's one obvious one.
I mean, probably. I thought Jerry Mixon had a heck of a game. I thought he played really well. Pretty much didn't feel like he was coming off the field a whole lot. I was really impressed with him. And again, like obviously I could like Bear Alexander, he's continuing to play very dominant. Like Tatum, Mateo, like they're still playing well. For me, Jerry Mixon in a game where he needed to play that way, I thought he had a really nice game.
Dill, Iowa ran the football 43 times in that game, and he gave up one carry that popped for over 10 yards. You know, you talk about linebackers fitting it the right way and not really blowing assignments and not really missing tackles. Thought Oregon did that. The one knock on Oregon is I wish we could generate some more negative plays, right? And get Iowa. Like it felt like Iowa was not really off schedule all that much.
But Iowa's been really like they haven't really given up negative play. Indiana struggled to create a ton of negative. Like they've been a really good offense, not taking negative plays. And I thought Oregon, again, their ability to not give up anything big and kind of like frankly wear them down to an extent. Look at another guy, Jericho Johnson probably should be playing more because I know I've had my criticisms about maybe Terrence Green, Tyone Gray. Yeah. Jericho Johnson, I'm taking his snaps over those two. I
thought the few snaps we saw from Jericho, I would grade him out. And again, this is just like one eyeball test here. I would grade him out higher than what you saw from
because he has that like more like he's firing off the ball, trying to get into the backfield, being a little bit more disruptive in the way that you're seeing Amari and Bear play. And that for me, when Oregon's humming, I do think they're getting that out of those D tackles. Like I just feel like Jericho gives you something a little closer to your top two.
I'll give my game ball to Bear again. This kid is playing awesome football.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
Playing a ton, playing really well.
I would say that, and I don't, again, I don't know why I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Like, if you were to ask me to compare Bear and Amari, I think Bear's been the better of the two over the last couple of weeks. And that's not a shot. I mean, I know it sounds like a shot. I don't know, probably could have just eaten that one, but I've been really impressed with Bear Alexander. Super disruptive in the pass rush and in the run game. And Dill, we talked about this in the preseason too. The thing I love most about Tatum and Mateo is look, they're really good getting after the passer, but they're dogs against the run. That don't take that for granted, by the way, because there's a lot of good edge defenders who are good pass rushers, but not necessarily good run defenders. You needed your guys out there on the edge, especially with all the stretch and outside zone Iowa wants to run, to be good. Thought Tatum and Mateo were really good against the run as well. All right, you want to talk miscues real quick?
You can talk miscues. I think there's one obvious one. I'd imagine almost every.
I think we lost Dill. So Dill, I'm gonna take over real quick. Excuse me. Do we have you back? We do not. So I'm gonna take this one over real quick, and I'm going to talk about the miscues. I apologize for the technical difficulties from the boys. Number one miscue here. 2 blown coverages on the last drive of that football game, and they were really bad blown coverages. And then on that 4th and goal play, and look, Dan Lanning, Tosh Lupoy as defensive minds, I mean, they have forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. And so I'm not getting up here and say I am a smarter defensive mind than any of them, because that would be foolish. But Dill, I was so incredibly frustrated on that 4th and goal where you had a 3-man front with Tatum as a quarterback spy, and he had 4-man box against Iowa, and you knew quarterback run was coming. I was yelling at the TV, quarterback run, quarterback run. We don't have the bodies to deal with it, and that's what Iowa goes out and runs, and they score. I was like, how can you not look at that and expect quarterback run? I mean, that was, and then how about on offense, man? You can't settle for the field goals that Oregon was settling on. And then that last drive on offense, the chance to really put this game away, you had 3rd and 2, you take a holding penalty on a play that Oregon should not be. I mean, that again, you didn't have Kenyon Sadiq. So you have Roger out there, takes a hold. I mean, it can't happen, right? And then you end up punting instead of kicking a field goal or scoring a touchdown and winning the football game. You got to see a little bit more killer instinct from this team. I look at the numbers. Oregon, 373 total yards to Iowa's 239. You were the better team by a lot more than 2 points, and you have to have the killer instinct to go out and get it done. Took some penalties that I didn't agree with, I'll say that, but took more penalties. Iowa had 1 penalty for 0 yards, and then they got 1 penalty, and it was declined. So you lost the penalty battle too. All right, we'll close it out there. We'll talk about this game a lot more over the next couple. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Dill, do we have you back, by the way?
No, I've been back for a little bit. I was going to say, I'm kind of with you. That first drive in the 4th quarter, you want to talk about miscues. You're running the ball that effectively, and you go to that quarterback run. I'm kind of with you. That one felt like just go kind of pound on them. Your 2 best players are Poncho and Pregnon. Those 2 are playing so well, I felt like all game. Go put the ball in their hands, go move someone, get 2 yards. Yep. You got running backs to do it. You got the offensive line to do it.
Yep. I don't even hate the play call, because Dante Moore on the design quarterback run's been pretty effective. It's just, I mean, again, that's probably Kenyon Sadiq and not Roger if Kenyon's healthy. Yeah. And I mean, Rogers blows that block and has to tackle, right? You just can't make that mistake, right? Because even if you don't hold them, it's still 4th and 1, and you're going for and probably picking it up. Hey, Oregon gets it done. That's all that matters. We'll talk about this game more in depth probably tomorrow at some point. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.